Phonic FM on 106.8 FM.
Indeed, it is Phonic FM Thursday afternoon, and it's the CVS and CoLab show now because we've blended the two together. And I'm very pleased this afternoon to welcome my guest, who is Julia from RVS. Hi, Julia.
Hi.
And Julia, we've just been talking while the music was on, but we're talking about a particular service that the RVS is delivering in Devon, the home library service. It sounds absolutely amazing because people quite often, they know that a library is a very good community centre for people to come and meet. And also there is a mobile library service which does go around to different places and take a mini library in a van. But your service actually goes directly to the person, doesn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yes, we have a number of people who, for ill health, disability, can't access the library anymore. And, books have always been important to them. And when that happens, it often increases their isolation. And so the Royal Voluntary Service, which delivers the home library service within Devon, takes books to individuals who can't access the library anymore. It's much more than a delivery service.
Yeah.
The slogan actually for the RVS Home Library Service is befriending with books.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the way it works is that a volunteer will go and visit somebody who's said that they'd like to use the service, and they'll discuss with them, the sort of books they like, their favourite authors, genre, fiction, non-fiction, whether they like large print or audio books, and then the volunteer will go back to the library and choose a selection of books, and then at a mutually convenient time they'll go back and deliver the books and then take the books that they finished with back to the library.
Fantastic.
I mean, basically they are the client's representative in the library.
Right, okay. Yeah.
They do everything connected with the library for them. And they can have music CDs as well, if they'd like that.
So really, it is a very personal service because whereas if a local van was coming around, then you just have to sort of see what's on there. You might make the odd request.
Yes.
This is very much, this is what I want, and somebody will actually make it happen for me.
Yes. I mean, the volunteer basically really gets to know the person, after a few visits. I mean, maybe to start with, you find out the sort of books they like. You might not get it right all the time. The volunteer might not get it right all the time, but that's fine. You just go back and say, if anything doesn't suit, just say, and they'll, they take the books back that they don't want, and they'll bring new ones. It often ends up with the volunteer staying for a little while and having a chat, and it's not all about books necessarily.
Yeah.
You really get to know the service users.
So the whole thing is really decreasing isolation for people, isn't it?
Oh, it's very much part of that, I think. And if you ask any of the people who use the service, they always say it's great. They look forward to the visit of the volunteer who's coming perhaps once a fortnight or once every 3 weeks or once a month. It's very flexible. It really is up to the client and their personal volunteer as to how they arrange it.
Yeah.
Some volunteers and clients like to have a set day. Mm-hmm. Others say they just arrange when's convenient for them to come. But normally it's 2 weeks to 4 weeks usually. Okay,
that sounds ideal. And of course you don't have to worry about vehicles so much, because as long as the volunteer has a car to get there, then,
yes.
You haven't got to supply a vehicle from the RVS or from...
Oh, no, not at all. It's as I say, it's not really a mobile delivery service. It's very much you take your own car if you're going outside of Exeter or within Exeter. Yeah. Some people deliver on the bus. They don't drive. And I've got some volunteers who go on their bike.
Yeah.
It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, so I suppose if you did live, say, centrally in Exeter, and the person you were volunteering to help was there, then you could just do it by foot.
Oh, yes.
To the library and
yes, people do, yeah. Yeah, people do.
So how did this start then? Where did the idea come from?
That I'm not too sure, to be honest. I think the Home Library Service has been functioning for well over 25 years, because I've got some volunteers who have been doing it for that long, if not more. And they, when you've been doing it for a long time, you become very attached to your people, as it were, and become friends, really. So it has been going for a long time, long before I was involved. And we have in Exeter now between 20 and 25 volunteers, and we usually average about 80 clients, but we're always really, really happy to get more people using the service.
Yeah, okay. So do the people who use it, obviously they are going to be like limited in their mobility, which is what they want to use. Is there there's no age group particularly?
Well, we tend to get more elderly people using the service, but it's not exclusively. No, it's not restricted. I mean, if anybody, say, has been in hospital for an operation and they find that, they're convalescing for, a younger person, convalescing for a few months and they can't get out and they just love a few books, then we can go and see them.
Brilliant.
It's not restricted to elderly people, although, the RVS, they do, care for the elderly more, but as an organisation. Yeah. But
it's just really for anybody.
It's for anybody who can't access the library. Yeah. Yeah.
So we want anyone listening who thinks they know someone as well as themselves. If you think you can make use of this service, then we'll give all the get in touch details later. Yeah.
A relative, a neighbour.
Yeah.
Just mention it at Exeter Central Library, and they will put you into contact.
Yes.
With me, and then I can go on and allocate a volunteer.
So do volunteers go out to rural places as well, to villages? And
yes, this service from Exeter, this service extends. We go to Tedman St Mary, Whitstone, Broadclist, Thorverton,
I know,
Silverton, all that sort of area. We have volunteers that go to these different areas.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking if you had 2 or 3 people in a particular village, then you could get a volunteer. Here we go and see all of them in one go. Really,
We've had people in Cheriton Bishop, Dunsford. It's quite. I think Dunsford's about as far as we go, but the service operates out of other libraries within Devon as well. Yeah, Crediton, Tiverton, Exmouth.
That's quite amazing. And I think that the personal service is important. I mean, it reminds me of I live in a small village in North Devon, and we used to have a weekly bus. Well, like once a week a bus would come, but it would only come and stop at the bus stop, and it turned out there was quite a few elderly people in the village who wouldn't use that bus because they couldn't actually walk to the bus stop.
That's right.
The thing needs to be done. Somebody needs to come and actually get somebody and actually bring stuff to somebody.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I can think of a lady who used to the mobile library used to stop very close to where she lived, and she was able to walk to the mobile library van and choose her books, and then it decided that the mobile library would stop half a mile down the road in the middle of the village, and that completely prevented her from getting books. Yeah. She and her friend who also lived close by. So she got on the phone and complained a lot, and they said, "Have you tried the home library service?" And she said, when I see her now, she said, "We were the winners." She just loves having the home library service.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is fantastic, not like you say, not just for the books or the CDs, but to have somebody to come and just spend a bit of time. I think that's fantastic. The RVS, for anyone who doesn't know, it is the Royal Voluntary Service, formerly known as Women's Royal Voluntary Service, and probably under that banner has been around since probably the first.
I think it's about 1947.
Okay, yeah, so it's like a post-war.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it was during the war as well, because it was the WVS in the war where mainly women, I think, used to serve teas, and I don't know whether they did first aid and that sort of thing, but they were there in crisis situations and so on. Yeah. And then it became the WRVS. It got the Royal bit, and then last year, on the 75th. I've got the dates wrong here. It did 75 years from last year. Yeah. Anyway, last year was the 75th anniversary, and it became the RVS.
RVS, okay, yeah.
Actually, I think it's been the RVS a bit longer than that. But
well, I mean, when I first started working at the Volunteer Centre, which is kind of a good few years ago now, it was still WRVS, because WRVS used to run the tea bar at the hospital.
Yes, that's right.
And they used to ask for volunteers. So maybe they've kind of sort of staggered the taking the W off. But RVS sounds good. It sounds very modern.
And I think also it's very inclusive, because we now have lots of men who volunteer too. Yeah. And that's brilliant. because it's lots of our clients. They like having a chap coming to see them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you quite often find, especially I think with older people, they quite often like someone who can kind of have a bit of a chat about the kinds of things they're interested in.
Yeah.
There's a really good scheme that Exeter City Football Club are running at the moment called Men Talk Sport. And it's for older guys to go and just talk about sport with other older guys. And you've got things like Men in Sheds as well. It's probably a very good idea to have a mixture of people as volunteers.
Because our clients are men and women, and it's just it's a real cross section of the population.
So how do people access it? I mean, we'll give out kind of your details, but is there just sort of general details out there that they can just ring a number, and so they ring the local library?
Ring the local library and ask about the home library service, and then they will get in touch with me. Okay, I think, or the RVS.
Yeah,
because they have contact numbers.
So the RVS, has their work sort of changed over the years as well? I mean, is it sort of still supporting in crisis situations, or is it mainly working with older people?
I think it's mainly supporting older people. I think that's what their aim is, really.
Yeah.
But they do lots of different things. As you said, they do the hospital trolley and cafes, and as well as the home library service and that sort of thing.
Do some amazing stuff. Julie, we'll have a little bit more music and then we'll come back and have another chat.
The CVS Show, exploring the nation's second favourite pastime. Go to www.exetercvs.org.uk to find out how you can make a difference in your community.
A sound alternative for Exeter and beyond. Phonic on 106.8 FM or online at www.phonic.fm.
Interesting, the jingle just now said exploring the nation's second favourite pastime, which is a byword for volunteering, which apparently is the nation's
Yeah.
And then people quite often say, well, what's the nation's favourite? Well, I think there's lots of different favourites. But it just made me think, Julia, because we, talking about the home library service and people and books, we are actually a nation of book lovers of all sorts.
Yes.
I think whenever they do these surveys about who reads the most, it is us as a nation in the UK. But we were just talking while the music was on about it's not just about the reading for the people receiving the home library service, and it's not strict, is it? They're not going to kind of have to sit there and study novels and write essays and things.
Not at all. I think some people have got the idea that somehow that libraries have used to have anyway a bit of a sort of strict sort of image, when you went in and everybody had to be quiet and the librarian said shush if you moved. Well, libraries have moved on considerably now.
Yeah.
And they offer all sorts of books. So our service isn't about making people read Dickens or Jane Austen or anything like that. There are so many books that are available. So non-fiction books, gardening, local history, photographs, just collections of photographs of old Exeter, books about villages, books about cooking, absolutely anything, travel. I know of one lady who, when she was younger and her husband was alive, they used to do a lot of walking on the coastal path. So she loves to have books which have got the most beautiful pictures of the southwest coast path. So, and she'll look through those. So it's not just about, you don't have to be, an avid reader, although of course we cater for avid readers too. If you just want a book to browse, then that's absolutely fine.
Because people also want to keep learning, so you could just be getting a book on some basic phrases of a language you're interested in, or like you say, just a book of about another country that you want to know. But it could be anything, couldn't it? It doesn't have to be novels and anything too academic. And
if you happen to see a book that you would like, and the library doesn't have it in at the time, then we can order it for you. And if it's not within Devon, then we can order it out of county, and that is the only time when there's a small charge. Otherwise, this service is completely free.
Wonderful,
absolutely free, and that includes books that are ordered within county. I mean, people like me have to pay 75p to order a book within Devon, But if you a client of the Home Library Service, then everything is free, apart from if we have to go out of county to get a book for you.
Okay, and that would just be like a minimum sort of fee?
Well, it used to be about £3, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm not too sure.
But that's probably something that's not going to happen too often.
No, very rarely. I mean, I think it's only happened a couple of times with a lady that I used to go and see.
So really, it isn't just restricted to what your local library's got. It's
no.
Whatever Devon has, and then beyond if need be.
Beyond if need be, yes. And also, I'd like to stress that some of our clients are partially sighted, or their sight is going. So we can get audio books or large print books to cater for that.
That's really good as well. Yeah.
And if you just want to listen to some nice music, we can get music CDs from the library. For you.
There's so much available now. There's films as well that people can get.
That isn't covered in the Home Library Service.
Okay.
DVDs are not covered. I mean, we can get them, but there is a charge for those.
Right, okay, yeah.
Anything audio, we can...
I suppose you might get people whose eyesight is such that they might want audio books, that kind of thing.
Oh, yes, Yes, audio books. A number of our clients use audio books.
So it really does open up the whole world to them. And we were chatting as well earlier on about how having somebody different come into their lives is important.
Yes, that's right.
You quite often hear that a member of the family says, I'll pick some books up for them, or I'll do their library kind of run. But actually, you were saying it's actually better for people to have somebody completely new as a part of their life.
Sometimes a relative of an elderly person might say, well, I can get library books for Mum, but if you could go, that would be really good, because then she'll see somebody other than just a member of the family. Yeah. Because she may see them very regularly, but to get somebody new in, that's a sort of fresh face from has a different experiences, different things to talk about, and that we are bringing the outside world into the home of somebody that maybe doesn't get out, doesn't see people for probably days on end. So
it is so important. I remember hearing about that with the Cinnamon Trust as well, who do the dog walking. You quite often hear tales of people who've become kind of members of other people's families in an adopted way, because somebody went round to walk the dog for a few weeks and then picked up a bit of shopping, had a chat to them, and then their family kind of helped support that as well. So you're kind of building really positive relationships with people as well. So that's partly what it's all about.
Well, to be honest, I think the volunteers, our volunteers, and include myself here, we get as much out of it as we hope that the service users do. Yeah. Because some people say, they get really attached to their people, their clients that they go and see on a regular basis, because they could be seeing them over a period of 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get to know that person, you get to know the sort of books they like. It's you look forward to going to see them, and they look forward to seeing you. Yeah,
exactly. And it doesn't always have to be older people, and it can be people who are just laid up for a while. They might have an operation or something, and if they are immobile, then
that's right.
This will work for them as well.
Yeah.
You don't need volunteers desperately at the moment. You more likely need people who want to use the service.
Yes. Well, within Exeter, we've got quite a good lot of volunteers at the moment.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean to say that anybody who'd be interested in joining the team of volunteers in Exeter shouldn't apply to join. It's just that you might have to wait to get a client, because at the moment I'm trying to really push the service out and get as many more people as possible to use the service. Yeah. Because we have plenty of volunteers to go and see people, but there are other areas of Devon where they do need volunteers, because if you go to your local library, if you'd like to volunteer with the Home Library Service, if you go to your local library, like in Crediton, Tiverton, Barnstaple, Exmouth, they may well be very grateful for some more volunteers.
Okay, that's good. I mean, so it does work all around Devon.
Yes.
Volunteers, they need to be prepared for the fact that they will need to have a kind of criminal record check, DBS check.
Yes, they have a DBS check, which is understandable as you are going into vulnerable adults' homes. And you have to join the RVS, which doesn't cost anything, but you do need to fill in an application form, give 2 referees, and they are followed up. And you also have to have a photograph because you have a little ID badge which you wear
Very
when
good
you're
idea.
visiting.
Yeah.
So, it's quite clear about who you are.
Yeah.
So it's, and I think, the RVS have to do that as a, professional charity, really.
Oh, of course, yeah. And that kind of keeps everybody kind of safe as well,
Yes.
which is really good.
Yes.
Julia, it is an absolutely brilliant scheme, and we want more and more people to do it, so we'll put the word out through CoLab and CVS. And anyone listening, if you want to get involved, contact your local library in the first instance, really, yeah?
Yes.
Or if you know somebody, have a chat to them and maybe make the phone call for them if they need it.
Yes. And I can leave my details with you.
Okay, yeah.
And,
people want to volunteer, they're best to contact you directly.
Yes. If they want to volunteer, they could contact me directly, or they could contact Kathy Saunders, who is the local service manager.
Yes, yeah.
For Devon.
Okay, I can get Kathy
she
details out.
manages all the libraries in Devon.
Yeah.
For the Home Library Service.
Well, I mean, it's been an absolute revelation to me. Actually, it was Mark, who works for RVS and is based at the CoLab. He mentioned it to me a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was you guys had been to the wellbeing event.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But as I say, it's not a service just for people who necessarily read lots and lots and lots. Our clients are as varied as the general population, so we get people who love a good old romance, and then others who want sort of academic books.
Yeah.
So it's really, really varied. So, and I'm sure whatever you like, we could provide.
Definitely, that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very, very much for coming and chat about it, Julia. It's fantastic.
That's okay.